The blonde boy stood drenched in the rain, trembling as he begged for someone to deny what he had heard, insisting it had to be a lie. Under an umbrella, the smiling couple apologized to Hiro-kun and calmly told him this was goodbye, while he only stammered in shock. As rain poured down, the new lovers walked away arm in arm, leaving Hiro kneeling alone on the wet ground, his halls echoing through the empty street. Watching from under his own umbrella, the grinning blonde narrator leaned close to his partner, eyes gleaming as he told how incredible the scene was. Remembering that euphoria, he licked his fingers and screamed inside that NTR was the absolute best, insisting the rush felt unbelievably good. Later in a bright classroom, he stared anxiously at his phone, urging it to hurry and play while a girl in sunglasses waved at him from behind. Plugging in earphones, he flushed and shivered as he replayed Hiro's breakup, suffering the agonized cries and apologies again. On his screen, a voice recorder app showed multiple tracks labeled with various men's names followed by NTR, revealing a growing collection of misery. Clutching his phone, he laughed to himself that the sound of a mine shattering was the very best. Admitting he had become trash, he narrated that a dark, shameful part of him became aroused by being in a healthy, loving relationship only to be stolen by another man. While another self-protested, he confessed he also had a strong desire to become a girl, picturing himself pouting and wanting to be on the other side of the NTR scenario. He lamented in panic that as a guy that dream could never come true, his eyes sparkling with desperate frustration. So instead he went around stealing every couple he could find, hoping that by shattering men's minds one by one he might sate the taste inside him. Lolling his tongue in bliss, he called himself an absolute degenerate, suffering Hiro-kun's breakdown as the very best while claiming no personal ill will. Walking down the street alone, he mentally thanked Hiro and thought he would gladly pay good money for such a magnificent mind-breaking spectacle. The pedestrian signal chimed as its walking figure lit up above him while he paused beneath it, lost in twisted thought. Gazing up, he reflected that this monstrous person he had been was exactly who he was. He noted this had remained true right up to the present moment as he stood at the church waiting to cross. Suddenly noticing something, he looked up with mild confusion and voiced soft surprise as if something felt off. A truck loomed directly before him, headlight bearing down as he faced it in frozen disbelief. In hazy vision he saw a happy couple holding a baby and smiling at him, their joy contrasting with his doom. When he later awoke after being struck by the truck, he felt overwhelming gratitude toward God as he watched a man and woman land into a crib, marveling that little Reiko was smiling. Inside the crib, a chubby baby clutched a stuffed bear and realized with joy that he had been reborn as a girl. The infant mind exulted that God had not abandoned him, even after he died, clutching such a desperate, perverse wish. Looking at his flustered parents, the baby resolved that this new life was the chance to be in a pure, loving relationship and then be stolen by another man. Grinning slyly through baby fat, he compared this world to his past one, noting that before he only did the stealing, but now as a girl everything would be different. Beating any fish against the crib bars, he vowed with ferocious determination to become the star of his own NTR story. Years later, a quiet family house stood in the suburb as mother and child prepared to head out. At the front door, his pregnant mother cheerfully said it was time for kindergarten, and the little girl answered politely. In the car seat, the girl fussed over her appearance, nervously asking if her bangs looked okay and if she looked cute enough. Her mother reassured her she looked adorable, while Reiko silly protested and narrated that outwardly she was just an ordinary kindergartner named Netora Reiko. A panel clarified that of course her name differed from her previous life, while she sat with a secretive smile. From the backseat, she looked at her gentle mother driving and her doting father son nearby, explaining that her parents were strangers to the man she once was. Together around a laptop, the family watched the news as Reiko realized she had been reborn in a modern Japan similar to her old world, just a parallel version without pandemics or terrorism. She decided she could sort out historical differences on just school life began and summarized that the bottom line was clear. Closing her eyes in bliss, she admitted her single true wish was to become an NTR heroine. Squirming on her bed in excitement, she declared that now was finally the time to make this dream, we had eluded her assignment, come true. With a feverish grin she likened herself to a rising Hollywood star who had just landed a lead role, imagining her future NTR drama. Smiling darkly, she thought that things were going to get absolutely crazy from here on. In the kindergarten classroom, she calmly folded origami while classmates praised her. And she mused that NTR scenarios varied wildly and were never one size fits all. Her imagination exploded with setubs, some consensual, some not, with handsome or ugly men, pure or promiscuous heroines, delinquents, younger boys, older men, and she concluded T.C. barely scratched the surface. Gazing ahead, she lamented that if she had a power like restarting by death, she could cycle through every NTR scenario and reset afterward. Even so, she admitted she already had a solid direction in mind despite all her rambling thought. Throwing her arms wide like a preacher, she proclaimed her masterpiece, Childhood Friend NTR, the king and holy grail of all such stories. She pictured two kids who had built something precious since they were little, holding hands with innocent joy. She then imagined that bond trampled by another boy who snatched the girl away, leaving the original friend devastated. In her fantasies, the stolen girl writhed beneath the new man's narration insisted this suffering and pleasure were far beyond simple sex. She decided NTR was like wine. The longer it aged, the richer and more exquisite it became. And she intended to treat it that way. Standing in the kindergarten yard, she concluded that the childhood friend fated to be discharged could not be some random boy. Narrowing her eyes, she judged that anyone who settled for a half-hearted choice would never amount to anything, so she refused to compromise. With that in mind she approached a timid boy and called to him, resolving that she had set her sight on him. Facing him among the flower beds, she listened as he nervously asked what was going on. Letting the moment strike, she introduced him in her thought as Tachibana Yuki, an ordinary-looking, slightly chubby boy, not especially handsome. From a distance he sat alone at a table, and she observed he was shy and timid compared to the other kids playing together. She watched him gladly help carry boxes and tend flowers and animals, recognizing a gentle child with a truly beautiful heart. Seeing his earnest expression, she concluded with dark delight that he was born to have his beloved girl stolen away. On a neighborhood map she noted his house was only a short walk from hers. While she wanted literal next-door neighbors, she decided this would do. Cradling a simmering black heart in her mind, she declared that all she required from the future cuckold was a beautiful heart. Standing close to Yuki by the fence, she reasoned that looks did not matter. Someone plain and burdened with an inferiority complex would be easier for a girl like her to make dependent. She pictured them side by side in the garden and imagined how, once the girl who became his entire world was taken, the impact on him would be immense. Wearing her sweetest smile, she leaned down and asked to play with him, suffering in advance how divine his future heartbreak would sound. They then knit happily together in the dirt, chatting as they tended the flowers, their friendship quietly beginning. When another boy called for Reiko to stop messing with flowers and come play soccer, Yuki looked over in surprise at how soon after she already was. She turned to the boy with a polite smile and declined, saying she was fine where she was. Beaming, she added that she was currently playing with Yukun, making Yuki blush and stare in amazement. Inside her mind, a monstrous version of herself loomed over Chibi Yuki, vowing to keep this up and wrap his affections and dependence around her finger. At the same time she reminded herself she had to make herself irresistible, because the perfect NTR scenario required a girl worth stealing. Watching Yuki blush as she chatted with another boy, she thought the ideal heroine had to make her childhood friend fear losing her and some other men believe he had to have her. She concluded that striving to become a perfect, beautiful girl herself was essential. Imagining makeup tables and elegant clothes beyond her age, she admitted true beauty routines were still out of reach for a kindergartner. financially and otherwise. So, towering in her imagination over a cheering crowd, she decided to focus on refining her personality and charm, using social skills honed as a former homewrecker to become someone everyone loved. Time flowed gently, days passing without incident as she and Yuki continue their routine. Eventually narration unknowns they had entered 6th grade, showing Tachibana Yuki and Netora Reiko at age 12 standing side by side with school bags. One morning at his front door, Reiko reached up to smooth Yuki's unruly hair, insisting she would fix his bald head while hastily protested it was no big deal. His mother opened the door mid-scene, apologizing to Reiko for always troubling her. While Yuki fled in embarrassment, Reiko greeted the woman brightly, accepting the thanks as Yuki's mother praised her for always looking after him like a lifesaver. Pressing a spray bottle and comb to Yuki's head, Reiko assured the woman she enjoyed taking care of Yukun and urged her not to worry. With a confident smile, she told Yuki to stay still as she prepared to style him properly. Yuki trembled, tears forming as he whispered that she was too close, stammering her nickname with flustered affection. She stepped back beaming, declaring he looked great today too, while her inner monologue gleefully confirmed how cute he had become. Blushing, Yuki thanked her awkwardly, his voice cracking as he called her Rei-chan. Outside, Yuki's mother called after them to take care and watch for car, while Reiko replied that they would be heading off. As they walked away, Reiko laughed that it had been a while since they last walked to school holding hands, making Yuki's face burn brighter. In the bustling hallway, classmates teased them as they walked hand in hand, calling them Hubby and Wifei and saying they were lovey dovey again. Flustered, they protested loudly that it was not like that, but the others only whistled and shouted they made a perfect couple. Eventually Reiko squeezed his hand and dragged him on, telling a stammering Yuki they should just go. Outside, Yuki sighed that he wished everyone would stop saying such things, while Reiko walked beside him in thoughtful silence. Inside, however, Reiko thrilled that in everyone's eyes they were practically an official couple already and wondered if the setup could be more perfect. When Yuki asked in confusion if she had said something, she snapped out of her drooling daze, face flushed and disheveled. She quickly put on a blank, innocent expression and insisted she had not said anything, leaving Yuki puzzled. She then cheerfully raised their joint hands and announced they should get going, while Yuki wondered if he had imagined her odd behavior. After school, narration marked the quiet campus as students prepared to head home. At the shoe lockers, Reiko opened hers and casually glanced inside while Yuki shuffled nearby. Resting atop her shoes lay a sealed envelope with a small heart, addressed to her. Turning with mild surprise, Reiko called out to Yukun, getting his attention. With a bright smile she said she had remembered something she needed to do and asked him to head home without her. Startled, Yuki commented it was unusual and offered to help if he could. She waved him off, saying it was nothing to worry about and that she would see him the next day, before slipping away. As Yuki watched her leave, another boy suddenly leaned over his shoulder, remarking that something about this seemed suspicious. Yuki spun around in shock, recognizing the boy as Fuyuki-kun, a friendly classmate with a mischievous grin. Meanwhile, up on the school rooftop, Reiko waited alone as the wind tugged at her dress. Holding the love letter, she calmly reminded the boy he had called her Tere and asked what he wanted. The athletic boy beamed, saying he was glad she had come because Tere was something he wanted to tell her directly. Standing a few steps away, he gathered his courage and confessed that he liked her and wanted to date her. Reiko bowed apologetically and said she was sorry but could not accept his feelings or go out with him. He stared in confusion and asked why. As she hesitated beneath the wide open sky, eyes widening, she finally blurted that she could not say the reason aloud. After a tense pause, she met his gaze and asked if he suspected it was because of Yuki, the boy always by her side. The rejected boy snapped, ranting that Yuki was a gloomy, plain loser bad at studying and sports, and demanded what she saw in him. Before he could finish, Reiko's hand cracked across his face, sending him reeling. Shaking with anger, she yelled that he must never speak about Yukun like that again. Through tears she declared that from the first day they met she had cherished Yuki more than anyone else in the world. Realizing she had gone too far, she turned her back and muttered that she should retreat, leaving him stunned. Down the stairwell, Yuki, who had come with Fuyuki but stopped midway, heard his friend's distant wail and froze, tears pooling in his eyes. Back on the now empty rooftop, Reiko leaned on the railing, heart pounding as she tried to calm down. Gasping with a manic smile, she admitted to herself she had come dangerously close to diving into the NTR route far too early. Images of the basketball club hotshot boy floated around her as she admitted she had nearly let impulse overtake judgment. She imagined herself slapping Yuki in her frenzy and now tried to calm down, realizing she had almost ruined everything for a moment's thrill. In chibi form she patched and fretted that if anyone deserved a slap for that stupid whim, it was herself. She judged that entering the NTR route in elementary school would be far too early and congratulated herself for barely holding back. Considering their age, she reasoned the emotional aftermath of betrayal would be too shallow to satisfy her. She acknowledged Yuki had not yet matured enough for maximum mind-break devastation and understood this well. Even so, she admitted that with Yuki, practically the ultimate cuckold candidate, her restraint was constantly tested. Watching him walk peacefully ahead of her, she reflected on how hard it had been to keep holding back. She pictured the wound deep over his heart and realized she had nearly yielded to an early, half-baked NTR with a premature rival. Trying to justify herself, she thought the situation was not entirely her fault and that Yukun saret some blame. She recalled how, back on the rooftop, she had quickly noticed Yuki and another boy peeking around the corner, secretly watching. Remembering that moment sent an electric chill through her as she covered her mouth, excitement tingling up her spine. In her memory, she focused on Yuki's eyes when he realized his beloved childhood friend might be taken by some random guy. She fixated on those eyes, that expression, the raw despair in his tears, and felt a dark thrill gazing down at him in her mind. She thought of how much she had wanted to break him completely right then. Then she snapped herself out of it, mentally flopping to the floor and insisting she was getting carried away again. Lying on the rooftop tiles with her notebook, she told herself to calm down and review her long-term NTR roadmap from the start. In a dreamy fantasy labeled Reiko's Delusions, an older her longed seductively as present Reiko decided betrayal should probably wait until high school. She reasoned that, in general, the longer the aging period, the richer the final NTR payoff. Yet she also recognized that the longer the build-up, the greater the risk of random events ruining her arrangements. She imagined losing control at a bad moment, pouncing on Yuki too soon and derailing the plan. Worst of all, she envisioned Yuki being hit by a truck and dying before the NTR part, which would be absolute game over to her. After weighing every risk, she concluded high school would be the latest safe point for putting her plan into motion. Grinning behind the rooftop railing, she noted that next year she and Yukun would be middle schoolers, edging closer to that deadline. She reflected that over nearly 10 years from kindergarten through elementary school she had maximized his affection and dependence on her. From here, she decided the focus would shift to polishing herself, imagining learning from stylish older girls. She admitted she would still be limited compared to high school, but with more freedom and some allowance she could invest in appearance and training. Daydreaming about her goals, she thought she could finally level up seriously toward becoming the perfect NTR beauty. Cackling to herself, she reasoned that the prettier she became, the deeper Yukun's eventual despair would sink, and she reveled in it. With wide manic eyes, she declared all this effort was so she could someday give Yukun the ultimate NTR experience. She then identified one critical task for the coming middle school phase, when new relationships would naturally form. That task, she decided with a smug smile, was scouting and securing potential rivals, the future Kakers who might steal her away. She revealed she had already had someone in mind for the best friend NTR route for some time, the very boy who had been picking with Yukun. This candidate was Kurushima Fuyuki. shown in his soccer uniform as a cheerful, handsome athlete. She described him as a fresh, athletic, good-looking boy perfect for triggering Yukun's inferiority complex, and noted she had already sunk her claws into him. Normally, she must. An introverted indoor type like Yukun and an ultra-outdoorsy boy like Fuyuki would never have clicked. But that, she said, was where a degenerate with an unhealthy NTR obsession like herself came in. Acting behind the scenes, she played matchmaker, recommending manga and topics so the two boys could find common ground. Thanks to their good personalities, they soon hit it off, and she kept arranging chances for the three to spend time together. Since Yukun had few friends, he became genuinely happy to grow close to Fuyuki. With pleasure, secretly, she urged them to get as close as possible, ideally near boys' love levels, so being stolen by Fuyuki would hurt Yuki more. She also made sure to deepen her own bond with Fuyuki, getting close enough that he too might someday want to claim her. She noted that boys that age were easy to manipulate if you outdid them physically, and they usually ended up liking you. On the soccer field, she therefore made sure Fuyuki learned that even on his turf she could overpower him and score with ease. She revealed she had trained since childhood to be above average in most major sports, always keeping such scenarios in mind. In her mind, a true NTR heroine needed to be proficient in every art, and she swelled with pride at meeting that standard. Just as planned, after being crushed in his specialty, Fuyuki started seeing her as a true rival. Sometimes they competed fiercely on equal footing, laughing as worthy opponents on the field. Other times she shamelessly weaponized being the prettiest girl in school, tugging at her drenched shirt to keep his eyes on her. Over time she spun him around in the palm of her hand like a toy, and by years and his feelings for her were already peeking through. She admitted that playing with such pure-hearted affection pricked her conscience a little, though she joked it still hurt less than wasting free gacha gems. Staring out the window, she reminded herself you always needed a backup, yet congratulated herself for already securing one strong candidate. She reflected Tere had been no better picks than Fuyuki in elementary school, so she had paused Tere, but planned to lock in at least one more rival in middle school. She must that being suddenly stolen by some random guy could be fun too. But since she had time she preferred being deliberate over impulsive. In her imagination she surrounded herself with a harem of rivals, saying she wanted to gather as many top-tier candidates as she could. Pumping her fist, she exulted that the more potential rivals Tere were, the better the eventual drama would be. A self-aware chibi of her bowed, admitting that even she knew how hellish that thinking was. Nonetheless, she shrugged that it was all for Yukun's ultimate NTR experience, and time marched on again. At last the day came when Reiko and Yuki walked beneath cherry blossoms in new uniforms, beginning middle school. Standing together beneath the blooming trees, they agreed it was a perfect day for an entrance ceremony and used their familiar nicknames. Nearby, their parents marveled at how grown up they had become and suggested taking a commemorative photo of them together, as Reiko bashfully thanked them for saying she looked lovely in her sailor uniform and praised Yuki's outfit. She told him he looked really cool today. Hearing her shy praise, Yuki flushed scarlet, scratched his cheek in embarrassment, and murmured thanks, flustered yet sincerely happy. Watching his bashful reaction, Reiko's face twisted into crazed delight as she adored his pure, precious mind and longed to shatter it someday. Even imagining her teasing the blushing Yuki about being embarrassed. A moment later, as they walked hand in hand beneath the blossoms, Reiko lovingly called to Yukun in her heart and, with a sweet-mad smile, urged him to wait patiently for the future day she would be stolen from him.